Well, my friends, I'm back. This is Jay, and this is Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. And looky, guess what? I have another Faux Swag Sweater. This is just how easy it is to make them, and I want to go ahead because this is my October surprise. October surprise. So let's just start at the top. I'm sitting here in my studio, needs cleaning, but bear with me. Okay, so of course we have a beautiful, you saw the first one was just everyday yarn. Now we're moving up a little bit and picking out some colors. This is all from my stash. I have a beautiful pumpkin spice-like color and then a soft pumpkin. Look at that. 2 different colors, just out of my stash. A couple of skeins of, one color and one skein of another. And look how I was able to put it all together. And of course, there are my faux sleeves with the beautiful cuffs hanging down. You see them right there. Oh, yes. And like I said, this is my October surprise Faux Swag Sweater. Just to let you know, I am working and I have a lot more to come. But I didn't want to wait. I want to try to go ahead and get this up, teach you right to it. And so tonight we're actually going to start this one. Go ahead and I'm going to lay it out on the counter, walk you briefly through the steps. I'm not repeating a whole lot of the steps because it's in the first video, Faux Swag Sweater 101. But I'm going to just kind of make sure you have the steps, see if you remember them. And then we'll have a little surprise towards the end. Look at that. What do you think? Let's see, can I get close to that? Oh, wow, look at that. Just very simple, really nice and fun. Now hold on and let me turn and go to the back. I will just give you, well, let's see, can I just turn this off for a minute? I'll be right back. All right, so now here is the back view. And we're going to just, like I say, I'm going to walk you through the steps just to see if you remember them. And we're going to keep this one pretty much the same, except this time I'm going to share with you how to have more than one color. The first one was all in one. It was one yarn. You know, I didn't physically change the color. But this one we're actually going to change colors. And there it is. There's the swag in the back at the bottom. We have this beautiful swag lace. This is a faux braid, I believe it's called. So it looks kind of like a cable again, but no cable needles involved. Just nice, easy knitting and a nice chart. Well, what do you think? Back up to the top, to the neckline. Look at that. What do you think of that? Some little decorative stitches going across the top of the shoulders. And I'm telling you, I'm all excited. I'm all excited. So there's nothing else to do, but let's go to the counter and let me share with you my October surprise Faux Swag Sweater. Just for you. Back in just a moment. Say hello to Bird. Hey, Bird. All right. Back in just a moment. All right. So I'm over to the counter and I want to go ahead and get right into the steps. Some of you may still be working your first Faux Swag Sweater. So this will be, just to see if you have the steps down. First of all, everything is the same for this one. We are not doing any major changing, except giving you an idea where to add color. All right, real quick, a quick review. These are my working formulas. I use yarn number, a medium number 4 weight yarn, not heavy number 4, and not the little thin number 4, but just a nice medium weight Cascade 220, a lot of Barocco yarn. I've used all that in the past. Have lots of it under the counter. Just can't get to it right now. I got too much stuff. But this is just some easy everyday yarn that I'm sure you have in your stash. So look for a label that says that the yarn is gauged to a number 8. Remember, you can use a number 8 and it will work just fine with my numbers. It's for the person who doesn't have a lot of fluff. You may be the size, but not a lot of fluff. I have a lot of fluff over the years, but when I tried to go up another size, it was too big. So I simply said, well, why don't I just go up a needle size and just give myself a few stitches of positive ease, not inches. So medium, it can even be small, especially if you're going to do a small. I just didn't write small up here because you see I didn't have much room. But especially if you're a small size, but anywhere from small, medium to large, these people can probably use a number 8 unless you are really fluffy, like, But you could use a number 8. All right, but medium to large, the same as the first sweater, you're given 97 stitches. This is the base number. We can add on as many, go up as far as 4 inches if we need to get a certain stitch or pattern in. We just add those stitches in if we want to. But your base number is 97 stitches. That's across this whole back. Okay? And then my 1X to 2X, that's me. And I have a bra size, depending on the bra, but usually between 44 to 46. So you can see if you can fall in that 1X to 2X. I'm going to cast on, this person cast on 105 stitches across the back. 3X to 4X, 113 stitches. Okay? And if like I said, if we ever need to add a few stitches to get the pattern in, maybe we're working on a certain cable or something, we need a couple extra stitches. We have as many, you can add as many as 4 stitches without changing the size and still being the same gauge. All right, so going back up here to person number 1, this group, 97 stitches, you're the small, medium, and large. Here's my working formula line right here. All right, real quick, this chart that we're going to work is 12 stitches, and I had to change it a little bit, so it's now 12 plus 3 stitches. All right, so the chart is 39 stitches. We're going to repeat the chart 3 times. So it's going to be 39 stitches for each size. See, all that's the same right here in the center. Now, once you get this down, you can add as many repeats as you want. I'm trying to keep it until we really get going full steam. I'm trying to make it simple so that you can, so that we can get right to the next one and the next one, okay? So 39 stitches for every size. All right, a border of 4 on each side, okay? Now whatever's left, once we subtract all of this, 39 stitches, and the 2 borders from this 97, we should get a number hopefully divisible by 2. If not, we can just add 1. It doesn't matter. But this came out to be 50, I believe, so I divided 50 in half, so I put 25 stitches here. These are filler stitches. They just fill in that blank spot. 25 over here, fill in. Add these all back up. They should equal that same number. If not, you've done something. All right, 105 hits me in the center. All right, 39 is the chart. That's the same. 4 stitch border on each side, and my extra stitches or my filler stitches came to 29 over here and 29 over here. Whatever that was, it was 70 something, I don't know. But anyway, when I divided it by 2, I got 29, 29. This person down here, I did the same thing, and I have 33, 33. Does that make sense? These are the filler stitches here and here. Here's the 3 repeat of the pattern. Easy. And then of course your 4 stitch border. Take a good screenshot of that. Make sure you just pick out yours and just write it up on a sheet of paper. Be fine. And then that way you will have it until we change it or I change something. But this is the basic. These are the basic numbers, basic sizes. But now these charts are for this chart only. This is my working formula for this chart. And for my own reference, I put up here, this is chart A5. This is just for me, so I got so many charts I got confused. Okay. All right, you got a good screenshot so you can make your own line. You don't have to worry about the others, just make what you need. All right, now the next step, let me show you how we're going to get started. Back in just a moment. All right, so now you have your working formula. You have your line that you're going to be working from. All right, the first step after you have your cast on number is to pick a bottom edge. I want everyone on this particular one to work where you just simply knit 2 rows and just stop. Knit 2 rows all the way across and then knit again. Now when you stop, you'll be on the right side. Okay, now you're going to need some moving markers. Now you're going to need some moving markers. For each, you got a border, and if everyone is working off your own working formula line. So we're going to simply knit across again. Now we're on the front side. Now we're going to knit across, and you're going to put in markers as we knit. So you knit this 4-stitch border. Everyone has that. Put a marker. Then whatever's on your working formula line, I have 29 stitches. So I'm going to knit across 29 stitches and put a marker. Then my whole chart, it's going to be 39 stitches. So I'm going to knit across 39 stitches. I could have done something else, but I'm trying to keep this really simple to get everybody on the same page. And then those that are more seasoned, you're going to learn some, you'll be able to do some of your own thinking. But you're going to knit across 39. Everyone has 39 for this center. And then, of course, put a marker, and then you do the opposite side. Okay, on your formula line. Then, of course, when you turn the work, you'll be on the wrong side. And, of course, on the borders, you knit every row. And then purl. Just purl all the way back until you have the opposite border. All right, now we are ready to, we'll be working our chart. I'm going to work the rows for you. It's not a very, I don't think it's really hard. You have to think a little bit, but it's not hard. So I'm going to work that with you, so don't worry about that. So until we get to that, let me just go ahead and let me pull this on down so we can continue to talk. The back, was after we, once we finish our chart and we start knitting, this is where you had to get someone to help you to measure. You need a measurement. I use inches from the top of your shoulders all the way down to the bottom or to your waist. Have someone to measure your back from the top of your shoulders to your waist. Make that number nice, easy, just round up to something nice and easy to remember. I use 20. 20 inches is my number for my sweaters. All right, so now when we start working the chart, we'll work up, and just depends on how many times you want to repeat the chart. At least 3 to 4 times, depending on how tall you are. So you just work the chart, and I'm going to share with that. Work each row with you in just a minute. And then that's when, after we do that, after we finish the chart, we will knit 1 row and purl back, and that's when we'll change colors. Okay? And then once we do that, we will start up the back, working towards the neck. Now that's as far as I want to go. Let me get the chart out, and let's get some practice yarn. If you want to, those that are seasoned and think, oh no, Jay, I'm ready, I'll go ahead and cast on and knit my 2 rows and put my markers in, and I will be ready to work the chart on my actual sweater back. If you're new or newer and you'd rather practice a little bit, some scrap yarn from your stash will be perfect. All right, let me get set up, and I'll be right back and share with you the chart. Pretty stitch, isn't it? All right, back in just a minute. All right, I have the chart here, and I will make sure that you get a good picture in the beginning of the video. All right, so real quick, let's familiarize ourselves with this chart. You can cast on, I think I had 41 stitches. I think that's what I had. All right, so for those that want to practice. All right, real quick, all the numbers on this side of the chart, this represents the right side rows. Okay? On the front of the chart, an empty box represents knit. But if the box has a dash in it on the right side, this is the right side that you're looking at, you will purl. So anywhere you see a dash, that's going to be a purl stitch on the right side. On the wrong side, it will be a knit stitch. Does that make sense? All right, symbols leaning to the right, just knit 2 stitches together. All the circles or zeros are simply tells you to yarn over. Then there's this symbol that looks kind of like a little TP, okay? In the key over here, it says we're going to slip 2 stitches. Slip 2, knit 1 stitch, and then pass the 2 that you slipped over and off. So it's a slip 2, knit 1, pass the slip stitches over and off. Right there. Stitches leaning to the left, we're simply going to use slip, slip, knit. And then the other symbol that leans to the right with two little attachments, 2 little legs, we're going to just knit 3 stitches together. Easy peasy. You'll have to think a little bit until you do a few rows, and then all of a sudden, away you go. It's going to be so easy. Now, like I said, here's my little sample right here. Go ahead and you will need some moving markers. Like I said, I'll make sure you get a good shot of this at the beginning of the video. But you will need, you know, some moving markers as we start working across. Let me see where I am right here. See if my little sample is here. Yeah. Good. That looks great. All right. So cast on at least 40 stitches and knit 2 rows. And then go ahead and have some markers ready, and we will get started. So pretty. Nice and easy. Alright, so let's get started with our practice piece for those that want to practice. Alright, go ahead and cast on 41 stitches. I changed the chart a few times, but for this practice, cast on 41 stitches and knit 2 rows. Alright, so here we go. We are going to, you will need some markers because you're down here at the bottom. Make sure that I can, that you can see. You're down here at the bottom. We're on the right side now after you knit your 2 rows. Alright, we will put a mark. We're going to knit, I'll just call it out as I'm knitting across. Alright, on the sample, we knit 4 stitches for a border. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Put a marker. I've got a white one. You're down at the bottom. I've got a white one. Now I'm going to put 3 filler stitches. Just knit 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Now I have a marker where I'm going to start the chart. Row 1 of the chart. Now, let's go together. Alright, the first thing I see when I look down, I see 2 dashes. Alright, a dash on the right side. This is the right side that we're looking at. We're going to purl. So after I put a marker, those 3 stitches that I knit, I have a marker. Tells me now I'm starting the chart. I bring the yarn to the front and I'm going to purl 2 stitches. Just like that. Purl 2. Now I have, because I've already pre-counted, I have 6 knit stitches. In order to knit, I put the yarn in back, and I'm going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright, now I have a symbol leaning to the right. So I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. After that, I have 2 empty boxes, 1, 2. So I knit 2, 1, 2, then there's a yarn over at the highlight. And I didn't mention, but most of you know, but I'll say it now. I put a highlight here to tell you where the repeat is. We'll keep repeating. When you get to this highlight, it tells you to stop, go back up. So when I get to that highlight right here after those knit 2, I do a yarn over. Now that's when you stop. You're going to put another marker to separate your, and I would do this if you're already working on the sweater. I would separate each repeat, the 3 repeats, with a marker. Now, I go back up to the beginning of the box, and I have 2 dashes. So I need for you to hold this yarn over and the marker on, just put your thumb there if you can. You need to hold on to it. Bring the yarn to the front so that we can purl 2, 1, 2. Now we're going to knit 6 again, yarning back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, then I have the symbol leaning to the right. Knit 2 stitches together, just like that. Then there's knit 2, 1, 2, then yarn over. Okay, now if you have more repeats, you're going to put a marker. Hold on to the marker and the yarn over, and you go back up to the yellow highlight. We're going to do that. Since I'm just doing 2 repeats on this sample, after I do the yarn over, look what I have right after that. I have 2 dashes. So that tells me I have to come around to the front of the work after the yarn over. See the yarn over. Now I have to come back to the front like that so that I can purl 1, 2, and then put the yarn in back. Now I'm going to have to move this mark. I've got a mistake here. Then knit that 1 stitch, and you'll have an end of your chart marker right there. And then now the rest of it is just filler stitches. Let me just do something here. Okay, so then you would knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then of course you'll have a marker for the 4-stitch border. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slide that marker, put it on down at the bottom there, and knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So now you're not going to see much. For those that are working the little sample, you won't see much right now because you're down here. And like I said, if you are a seasoned knitter and you want to go ahead and put yours on the sweater, you can. It's only 3 repeats. So now when you turn the work, I want you to look at the back. Alright, the border stitches, we knit on every row. Then we purl anything except where there was a purl stitch on the front. On the back, it makes a knit stitch. So you're down here, but eventually after a couple of rows, you're going to see the knit stitches pop out. So you'll know to purl, then you're going to knit those 2 stitches, then you're going to purl all the way across until you come into the these 2 little purl stitches again. So you'll knit 1, 2, then you'll purl across. You'll come again to the knit stitch, 1, 2, and then continue to purl until you get to the border, and you knit the border on every row. Most of you have done this and you can read it, but I just want you to see how it looks. It just pops out. It is so fast. So take a look at that and let me go ahead and work mine off camera, and I will come back and we will be on row 3. I want to get this whole chart on this as easy and quick as I can. So we will come back on the wrong side, knit the knits, but purl anything that's purl except the borders. You knit on every row. Be back in just a minute. Now we've set the ground rules, whether you're working the little swatch with me or if you've started on your sweater. Alright, I am on row 3, so let's go ahead and let's work the chart for row 3, the right side. I'm going to do my little border real quick. Then I do my filler stitches, whatever it is that you know to work. On this little sample, I just had 3. Now I'm up to the chart marker. It's a separate marker. All right, let's read. All right, the first thing I see on row 3, if you look on yours, you bring the yarn to the front, hold that yarn over, kind of, and then purl 2 stitches. Bring the yarn to the front, purl 1. I'm going to take this ring off. Wait, I got to take that ring off. Ooh, it was hurting my finger. 2. We are working row 3 right here. Purl 2, now knit 5, yarn in back. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See, pre-counting really helps. And then you can check. You see the 2 purl bumps, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, then the symbol leans to the right, so I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. Then knit 2 right here, 1, 2. I'm going to knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, okay, yarn over, and then knit 1. The yellow highlight tells me to stop, okay, and go back up to the front of the box where the highlight. So I'm going to slide that marker, then I'm back at the front of the box. Now I need to hold this yarn over, hold this, just kind of make sure it stays on there, because we have to bring our yarn to the front because we need to purl 2 stitches to start row 3 again. 1, 2, 1, 2, then yarn in back, knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You knit 2 stitches together, then you knit 2 stitches, 1, 2, right here. Now I'm up to that yarn over, knit 1. And of course, if you work in the real sweater, you have another repeat. After I knit 1, I'm at the end of my little sample, so I'm going to bring my yarn to the front because I need to purl 2 stitches, 1, 2, and then I put the yarn in back to end with a knit stitch. Okay, now I slide the marker and I do my filler stitches. See, as a knitter, you would do all 3 repeats, and then you'd slide your marker to do your filler stitches, and then eventually you'll slide the marker to do the 4-stitch border. All right. It is beginning to look like something. Of course, when you turn the work, you're on the wrong side, and what do we say you do? You knit the knits. Anything that appears as a knit stitch, you knit, continue to knit. Everything else you purl, except your borders are always, I knit on every row. So, that's what it looks like. All right. Work the wrong side as I work it off camera, and I will see you back at row 5. Trying to get it all on here so it won't be so long for you. All right, be back in just a minute for row 5. Okay, I am up, and hope you are as well. Of course, I'm trying to work a little faster to get as much of this on the video so that it won't be long. And just give you the most important things, and of course the chart is important. So, alright, so I am working across my little sample here to help people that need a little help with the chart. If you're seasoned, you have started to work. Alright, so now, after I knit the border, then I knit my 3 little filler stitches on my little sample here. I am up at row 5 of the chart. Every row starts with bring the yarn in front because I want to purl 2, 1, 2. I purl those first 2 stitches. Now I pre-count it, so yarn in back and knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Makes it so much easier. Now I'm up to the symbol leaning to the right, so I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. Then knit 2 after that, so knit 1, 2, then there's a yarn over, and then there's a knit 2 stop. So see, I knit 1, 2, stop. Now go back up to the front to where the highlight starts again on row 5, and I see that I need to bring the yarn to the front because I need to slide the marker and purl 2 stitches. See, that's where I need to, right here, purl 2. So the yarn needs to be in the front of the work. Then I put the yarn in back, knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then another symbol leaning to the right. So we are simply going to knit 2 stitches together. Then I have 2 stitches, 1, 2, yarn and 2. Oops, I didn't knit that one. 1, 2. Okay, then there's a yarn over, and then I knit 2 again. 1, 2. Now if you have another repeat, you go back up to the front of the box and start on row 5 with the purl 2. But I only have these 2 just for practice. I have the yarn over, then knit 2. Now I need to bring the yarn to the front of the work so that I can purl 1, 2. I purl those 2 stitches. Now I had to put this little knit stitch here just to kind of bounce off this little sample. So yarn goes in the back and I knit 1 stitch. Alright, now as you can tell, I'm up to the filler marker. So I slide the marker and I knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. And of course I have my 4 stitch border left. Slide the marker there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, you're still at the bottom, but you're making great progress, and you will see some beautiful work shortly. So now when you turn the work, we're going to work the wrong side, knit the knits, purl the purls. Both borders we knit on every row. I'm going to move my little marker up to row 7, and I'll work that off. I'll work the back off camera and be back, and we'll work row 7. See, it goes really fast. I have to slow myself down because I've been working so much. So naturally, I've memorized the chart a lot. So it seems like I'm just flying through it only because I've been working it so many. I've worked it so many times. All right, I'll be back in just a minute, and we'll start row 7. All right, so I want to go ahead and try to finish up with the wrong side. So now I'm starting row 7 of this really pretty chart. Kind of makes you stop and think. That's the only thing. You just have to just be in the moment when you're working. It's not hard. It's just a lot. All these, just be in the moment. All right, so now I've worked up to the chart, row 7, right side, and when I slide the marker, the first 2 stitches, I have to knit, purl 2. Purl 2. Now watch. Once I purl the 2, my yarn is in the next stitch is a yarn over. Well, once you purl, you're in the yarn over position, so all I have to do is knit 2. So there's I purl and my yarn is in the right place, so I just stick my needle in and knit 2. 1, 2. Now this brings me up to that little TP symbol, and again over in the notes it says slip 2. So I'm going to slip 2 stitches, then knit 1, knit the next stitch, stop, reach back, and I pass each one separate. I just reach back, pass each slip stitch over and off. Now on this side I knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, and knit 2, 1, 2, and then into the yellow highlight, 1 more. So let's see, yarn over, knit 1, 2, 3. Can you see that right there? 1, 2, 3. The yellow says stop. Now go back up to the beginning of the box. All right, and I'm gonna bring my yarn in the front because I need to start with what? Purl 2. You can read the stitches now. Purl 2. All right, I have that yarn over again. I'm already in the yarn over position. So I go ahead and knit 2, 1, 2. All right, I'm up at the symbol that says I need you to slip 2 stitches, knit the next stitch. Now stop, reach back, and pass both slip stitches over and off the needle, just like that. Now I'm on this side with a knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over. Okay, now I'm going to knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now, those that have another repeat, you go ahead, but once I knit my 3, then I'm going right on off the chart, and the next thing I need to do is purl 2. So yarn in front. Now I'm going to purl 1, 2, and then I have this knit stitch where I put the yarn in back and I knit 1. Now I can slide the marker and knit the filler stitches. I had 3 for this little sample. Slide the last marker that represents the border, and I knit the 4 stitches there. Okay, so let's see what we have. Once the pattern pops out, it gets real exciting because you can see it. Even though you're still here, you've got to make it through the whole chart. So now I will work the wrong side, and we'll come back and work row 9 together. Oh, we're almost there. All right, I'll see you back at row 9. Okay, so row 9. Wow, like I said, even with the original sweater, those that are the seasoned knitters that decide to go ahead and maybe start it, even it goes fast. Once you get into just reading the stitches, taking your time, seeing, looking ahead to make sure your yarn's in the right place. All right, so I'm up to the chart. Of course, every row has started with purl 2 stitches, so that's easy enough. Okay, now row 9, knit 1. After I purl the 2, knit 1, yarn over right here, then knit 2, knit 1, 2. Now we have the first stitch leaning to the left, and we'll simply do a slip, 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 knit, reach back and knit. You slip 2 stitches and you just reach back like that and knit them together. And then I've already pre-counted, knit 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, that's 1 repeat for me. So I need to put my yarn, I need to go back up to the front of the box, and I see I'm going to start with the 2 purl stitches. I put my yarn in front, so I'm ready. All right, so now I'm just going to purl 2, 1, 2. All right, then again knit 1, yarn over, knit 2, 1, 2. I'm up to the slip, slip, knit, leans to the left, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, when I knit the 5, I'm already, if I'm on the last repeat, so I move right on off the chart, and I see that I need to bring the yarn in front, purl 2, and you have to be careful with this last knit 1 that I had to add. Yarn in back and knit 1. Okay, then I slide the marker and knit the filler stitches. And then the last marker represents the 4-stitch border. So take your time and knit the 4 stitches. Just like that. That was row 9. Row 10 is the wrong side. Ooh, pretty. All right. Of course, you're down here trying to make your first repeat. but it's going to be so exciting. So now I'll work the wrong side and come back for row 11. We are almost to the last pattern row. So let me work mine off camera and be back. All right, row 11. I work over to my chart by just doing all my little filler stitches and my little border. Okay, now I'm up to my chart marker, and the chart start as it has started from the beginning. I need to purl 2 stitches. I bring the yarn around, I move that marker, so I'm going to purl 2. This is row 11. 1, 2, okay. Yarn in back, knit 2, right there. Knit 1, 2, yarn over, knit 2 again, 1, 2, symbol leaning to the left. We're going to slip, slip, reach back and knit those 2 together. Okay, and then knit 4. I've pre-counted. So I knit 1, 2, 3, and 4. I stop. The yellow highlight tells me to stop. Go back up to the front of the box. I know I'm going to start with the purl 2. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my yarn to the front, slide the marker. Look, I'm ready to go. Purl 2 stitches. 1, 2, yarn in back, knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, then knit 2 stitches again. Right here, 1 and 2. Right before we do the slip, slip, knit, leaning to the left, slip, slip, knit. All right, and I've pre-counted. For my little sample, I'm going to knit 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this is my last repeat. So I go right to the edge after the end of the chart, 4. Then I put my yarn in front because I need to purl 2 stitches. And then I'm going to end the row with a knit 1. Now I'm back with my filler stitches. 1, 2, 3, and my little 4-stitch border. I just kind of made this up real quick so that I could have a sample, because I like to really make sure those that are, I'm just so happy that so many are deciding to learn how to read and work from charts, because it just saves so much time than trying to type everything up and maybe miss something. The chart you can pretty much see, and by the time I practice working it, I can tell if I've missed something, you know, if I've left off something, or if I need to adjust or change, like I had to throw in that 1 extra row to kind of get things the right place. All right, so now watch. You're almost down here. You're almost ready to finish your first repeat. So you turn on the wrong side, and now you can really see all the stitches, how they pop out. Remember, knit the knits and purl anything that needs to be purled. That's all you have to do. Just watch. There was that one stitch you have to just be careful of at the end. But other than that, everything just pops right out. Look at that. All right, I will work the wrong side and be back at row 13. Take your time now, because we're almost at the end and you don't want any mistakes. We are at the last pattern row, row 13. So I will just knit over to my chart. I take care of my border. Then I take care of the filler stitches. Just little extra stitches. Alright. Now I'm up to my chart. I slide the marker. Of course, I'm going to put my yarn in front, slide my marker, because I'm going to purl the first 2 stitches that we've done from the very first row. I purl the 2, Now up here at the top, I'm going to knit 3, yarn in back. So now I knit 1, 2, 3. Remember my 3 friends? I hadn't talked about them in a long time. Alright, after I knit 3, I'm going to do a yarn over right there. After I yarn over, I'm going to knit 2. 1, 2. Now this symbol that leans to the right with the 2 little legs underneath. Okay, over in the note section, it says knit 3 stitches together. So I'm going to gather up the next 3 stitches. You may have to pull down on them, get your needle under there. Make sure you get all 3. I'm going to gather up the next 3 all together. Knit those 3 stitches together. Pull them down in place. And then on the other side, I knit 2. 1, 2. Then I'm going to yarn over, stop, because it's the yellow highlight. It tells me to go back up to the front of the box. Now, when you have this yarn over, and then you're going to go back up to the front of the box and purl, okay, then you're going to bring your marker over. Whoops, just pop it right off. And now I'm going to hold the yarn over in place with the marker and bring my yarn to the front. I hold the yarn over, that last yarn over, and the marker with my thumb in place. Then I bring the yarn around to the front. Now I can purl, see those 2? I can purl the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. Alright, then yarn in back. I'm looking for my 3 friends. There they are. 1, 2, 3. So I knit 1, 2, 3. Yarn over right there. Now I knit 2. 1, 2. Now I'm back up to that symbol. I'm going to gather 3 stitches together, gather them up, there they are, and I'm going to get my needle under there and knit those 3 together, pull them in place. Now I'm going to knit 2, 1, 2, then I'm going to yarn over. Now if I had another repeat, you'd do the same thing that we just finished, but I'm right here at the end, so once I yarn over, I still have to bring my yarn around to the front to purl these last 2 stitches. 1, 2, and then I have that 1 stitch right here that's left, so I put the yarn in back and knit 1. Alright, slide the marker, and then I'm going to knit 1, 2, and 3. Those are just the filler stitches, and then knit my 4-stitch border. Just like that. There we go. Now you have just finished your first repeat here at the bottom. Now I don't know if I said what this stitch is called, a faux braid. So it looks like a beautiful cable, but we didn't have to use a cable needle. It's a faux braid on my Faux Swag Sweater. That's what made it so exciting. So I'm going to pull that back now a little bit and lay that there. Of course, I went to my iron board and steamed it a little bit so you could see it. So you can see the pretty. Now, what you have to do is decide on if you want 3 repeats or 4 repeats. If you're tall, you most likely might try 4 repeats. Now, what I'm going to do is, of course, you have to purl, do the purl row. You have to do the last purl row. Then what I would do is to knit a row, then purl back, and we will be on the right side and ready to join a new color if you like. You don't have to. If you like, that's what this one is about, doing a new color. And I got so much more information in the next section of this video. I'm going to see how much time I have on this and see if I need to either make this part 1 or see if I can go ahead and get all of it on this one. So I'm going to stop it here and let you catch up, and then see if I can walk you and talk you through the the same steps that we just finished on, the first sweater, Faux Swag Sweater 101. All right, so I'm going to let you catch up, check everything out, and then I will come back shortly and see what we can finish up on. All right, so when I left, I just needed a minute to kind of get myself back into the steps. So this is simply I'm going to see if I can walk you through the steps from Swag Sweater 101, just to remind you. We have just finished the chart. Either you repeated it 3 or 4 times, depending on how tall you are. And then you were to knit across, and then, of course, purl, do the purl row back. Now you can change colors if you'd like. I was running out of this color. I didn't think I could make it, and I had one whole skein of this color. This is some Heartland, and it just turned out. Remember on the intro video, I had another orange. I had the roving yarn. Well, I grew sick of it and tired of it right away. So it was not a decision. I just picked up more yarn and started all over and got a new stitch, and I like this much better. There's more weight to it. That thick and thin yarn, it just drives you crazy sometimes. But I didn't take it out. I'll save it. All right, so now going back to this is where you simply change colors. You know how to just loop the yarn over, start on the right side here. You loop the yarn over the needle and just continue on to knit across. Very simple. Now for those that sometimes you get tired of stockinette, where you're just knitting on the front, purling back, knitting across, purling. Okay, maybe say every 2 inches. I did about 2 inches here. So every 2 inches on the wrong side, I would knit across the row, which will give you this garter ridge on the front. You know how to do that. So on the wrong side, you get tired of just back and forth. You just knit on the wrong side and then get back into the stockinette pattern. Knit on the front, purl on the back. Then I went another couple of inches. I got tired again. So I stopped and I did it again on the wrong side row. I just knit across and then got back into pattern. All right, now, then we had the most important thing about this section now, when we start up the back, was to get someone to help you take a measurement, your back measurement from the top of your shoulder all the way down to your waist. And the reason I made it that long, because your body, when you put this on, your body is not flat. There's dips and valleys and lumps and bumps, and lots of fluff like on me. So I just figured if I'd go off, just use this whole, the length of the back, that will give me plenty of room. But you can change it. This is what this sweater is all about. Since we're not making a full sweater, where I've got to try to line everything up and got to get everything, all the numbers. This is just a faux sweater. This is all we need, is this back section. The front takes care of itself into 2 beautiful ties. How easy is that? So if you don't like to go all the way down to your waist, you can stop. But stop in 2-inch increments. Like if you say, Jay, my number is 20. So if I wanted one a little shorter, I'd just say, okay, I'm going to do 118 total inches. Then you can divide it up high, as long as you leave 2 inches for the neck to reach the shoulders. See how easy that is? This is your sweater. Okay, but I got the whole back here. So now we're knitting up. I came to my total back was 20 for this sweater, so I stopped at about 18 inches. 18 inches, remember, all we did, the first thing you have to do once you reach 18 inches is to count. You count from this border, don't count the border, you count the stitches between this border and all the way across to that border. Okay, everywhere, every size. We'll get 31 stitches for the neckline until we change it. We're going to be changing on down the road. Not on this one, though. I'm trying to keep the same steps to get you in, so you'll know where you are. So you subtract 31 stitches from however many stitches you have in this row here. All right, and if it's if it's a number that you can divide by 2, then you'd make this shoulder the same number as this shoulder. The whole point of this is to get the 2 shoulders equal. We don't care about the neck. The neck can be taken care of. It's the 2 shoulders. So say for instance, okay, well, Jay, some kind of way I I got an extra stitch. Don't worry. Just as we start to knit across and place markers, when you get towards the end, knit 2 stitches together. Bingo. This is this easy, common, just everyday simple knitting I'm sharing with you, this little sweater. It will be so easy to make, and you don't have to, from now on, if you need to give a gift, you don't have to be in such dire needs to know, try to fit the person. Everybody's body's so different. Mine changes all the time. So once you do that, just don't forget, you have to set in markers. You count back. You count across. Always start from the edge counting. I count in however many stitches. Say if it was 33. Then I wanted to say 33 up to the neck. Then I'd count back 4 because we have to put in that new border. So just follow the same steps. I won't repeat everything. And then you will have a marker here that we're going to work the 1 by 1 ribbing. This is the front side. Some of you say, well, Jay, you didn't have an edge stitch. Well, it's not on the edge. It's in the center of the sweater. So on this, I don't need an edge stitch. If it was over here, I'd have to have an edge stitch, then knit 1, purl 1. Okay. So this is in the center of the sweater. So I have my new border, and then I start out with knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, all the way across and in, and then add the new border on this side. You have to have a border on this edge. I hope I'm on. You can see it when I turn it. You'll be able to see it. But as we go down the sweater. All right. Next step. Once you back and forth until you have the neck at least 1.5 inches. You don't have to be exact on this. This is what's so great about it. You will learn your own things, and then you will be able to critique and say, okay, Jay, I think I need some other number here, whatever. But that will come the more we knit them. And we have a lot, I hit the camera, I'm sorry. We have a lot more knitting to come because I have a lot of samples already in the works. Okay, so once you do that, now we're on our way. All right, we're going to bind off on the wrong side with the knit stitch. Just like I would do normally. I'd be on the wrong side most of the time, and even for me, I always bound off in pattern. Then one day I made a mistake or something happened and something just clicked. Now, it depends on you. You can bind off in pattern. That means you bind off in the rib stitch. Knit 1, purl 1, reach back and bind off. Knit 1, reach back and bind off. Purl 1, okay? But then I found one day I was on the wrong side, and I guess I was tired, I don't know, but I just started binding off with just a plain knit stitch, and it gave me these pretty little purl bumps at the top. It kind of gave a nice little finish to the neckline, and it doesn't stretch and get kind of wonky as if I would bind off in pattern. But now this is just something I do. The rule is to bind off in pattern. So I don't want to start taking you somewhere crazy. This is just for me and for this. If you are a seasoned knitter, you bind off however you want to bind off. Some people do the extended and different kind of bind off. This is what I'm doing. On the wrong side, bind off with the knit stitch. Okay, and don't forget that last stitch on the end has to be bound off. Now we're going across now we have 2 separate, we have this shoulder, and the numbers match, and this shoulder with a new border going down each front. Does that make sense? All right, now once we go down each front, now we got to know, since if you change colors, okay, I decided to stop this color, and I decided to stop it at 16 ridges. From this point, we start working with the ridges. For me, I found years ago that if I would just count the ridges instead of trying to measure each time, sometimes my measurements were off, or I don't know, anyway, the ridges are set. They're set in the knitting. They're not going to be wrong. So from this, where you started down here, you'd count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 ridges. 16 ridges. If you can't remember, take some masking tape and put it on the wrong side so you remember. To stop this color here, the color you just added, We don't want it to go all, well, we can go further. I'll show you other ones, but right now I'm just trying to get you into steps. So we'd say 16 ridges. Every one, everywhere, every size. Everything is the same pretty much, except your cast on number. When you get here, I had more of the original color, so now I just simply added it back. You know, just like you loop the yarn over the needle and just start knitting. Knitting back and forth. And remember the next measurement we needed to get to. Well, if you didn't change colors, you'd start back here and you'd count all the way to whatever. Remember I said put on a good bra, and so that you can measure across your bust line, just right across the very center of the bust line. And then go back and count those ridges to see about how many ridges does it take to get there. And I came up, for me, I'm trying right now, 30. It worked so far. If I need to change it, you can always go back in increments of 2. I can always drop back to 28 or any number. You know, see what I'm saying? Make it easy. So 30. So once I put this color back on, I continue to count. I already had 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. See? I'm doing the same thing I did on the first sweater. I just changed colors this time. And I didn't want to take this color all the way down. I wanted to stop it a little early. So once I get to 30, all right, and then you may have to purl back, and now you're on the right side row. This is when you start the decrease. The decrease is the same on all these faux sweaters. Right here, let's see, can I pull it down? I'll just kind of work on one side now. Okay, right here, how about that? Let me check my camera. Perfect. Can I bring it up? Perfect. A little closer. Okay, so now you can see how it starts to narrow in. This side, I knit the border, slide the mark. You know, I'd have a marker, slide the marker. Then I'm gonna slip, slip, knit. First thing I do is after that marker, slip, slip, knit. That leans to the left. Knit on across. When I get over here to 2 stitches before the marker, I'm going to knit 2 together, which will lean to the right. Slide the marker, do the border. Okay, now I'm just going to keep working that. It's on every other right side row. So I'd purl back, knit a row, purl back. Now I'm ready to decrease again. Go across, do the decrease, purl back, knit a row, purl back. Now I'm ready to do another decrease. And the way you find out how many decreases, how you go down, keep decreasing. Every once in a while stop and count the stitches in between the border. Between this border and this border, count and see if you have 16. Every one, everywhere, every size. If we started with an odd number at the top, you're going to have 16 plus 1. Great, because we'll use it when we do the border. If you started with an even number, if your numbers happen to turn out to be even, 30, 30, okay, that's an even, you're going to wind up with just plain 16. Well, don't worry. When we get to the cuff, we'll just add a stitch. See? It's all just elementary. So simple, I'm trying to make it. And it's this way until I change. I will be changing and adding things on down the road. But right now, this is the fundamental, the basic of the faux swag sweater. You'll do it this way. Now, when you get to the bottom or decide how long to make these sleeves, everyone is different. Some people are going to like theirs long. Some are going to like theirs, oh, Jay, I don't like that. I don't think I want mine as long as it turned out. Okay, I had to unravel several times. So long as you don't, don't knot when you get ready, when you get down here, and you don't knot anything off when you finish your ribbon, just hold on, try it on, look at it. Uh-oh. Sorry. Spam call. I didn't want to show you the real me on camera for spam calls. Okay, so when you I forgot what I was saying. Okay, so when you lay it out flat like this from the top of the shoulder all the way, and then you'd have the bottom of the sweater, just like I shared. Everything is exactly the same. You'd lay it down, make sure the shoulders lined up, And you come down. Hey bird, let's move bird out of the way. I'm trying to get this on this tape. And the rule I made up to help me to always remember, try to keep knitting till you have at least 2 inches past the bottom. It doesn't have to be perfect 2 inches, just at least 2 inches, somewhere near there, from the bottom of the sweater. Then you can start the 1-by-1 ribbing. Does that make sense? And for instance, if you're not sure if you're running out of yarn, like I'm using scrap, so I can always, just go a little bit less if I had to or whatever. But lay it down, go beyond the bottom, okay, at least 2 inches. Then the ribbon, we would simply start including the edges now. Edge stitch. We're on the front, so I knit, and then the first stitch in the ribbon is a knit, purl. Knit, purl, all the way across. If you are short a stitch, then right here in one of the knit stitches or something, you just knit into the front and back and continue across, and you will end in the right order, and then the last stitch is the edge stitch. You do that for at least 2 inches. If you have enough gas in the tank, 3 inches looks so much better. This is my 3 inches, and it just looks so pretty. Then, when you're up to the 3 inches, you're on the wrong side, you will simply bind off, just like we did the neck in the knit stitch. Just all the knit stitches, just bind off as usual, and then weave in your ends. Now, you can make this your longer side. If you're scared you might run out of yarn, this could be the long. Remember, they don't need to be even. They need to be offset just a little bit. As much as you can. You don't have to have it's got to be this. No, just have them offset just a little bit. If you can do 2 inches, fine. If you can't, I can only get, I'm running out of yarn. Okay, 1.5 inches. So this could be the long one. So when you come on this side, you can make it a little shorter so that they're offset just by a little bit. How about that? Let me think of something. Oh, so now I wanted to share with you something that I didn't have time and forgot. When you're weaving in your ends, I went over, and I might go over it again real quick, but I went over how to steam. But when you're weaving in the ends, one of the main and most important things I want you to do, I do this every time, make sure I'm on camera. Can I turn it? Yeah, let me see, hold on, let me see, can I get this more into the light? Yes, that's where I want to be, right there. Okay, so right here, anytime that I have, now I'm getting a needle, one of my yarn needles, they're up here somewhere. Okay, and so when, I try to leave a tail in places while I'm knitting. So I'm going to take my yarn needle and I'm going to thread this yarn, just like that. Anytime I have an angle, you see that angle there? This is the wrong side. You can see that funny line. You can see the beads on the right side. And you have this where we added the border going up. So it makes a right angle, or it should be a nice right angle. But if you look, it's kind of wonky, because anytime you join something, a lot of times it needs to be reinforced. Even in garments that you sew, you'll go back and reinforce certain places, to make sure that the join is secure. So this is what I want you to do that I forgot to tell you on the first one, but you can always go back and do it. Take that tail, or either just get some yarn, or just add yarn. If you don't have a tail, just thread a yarn needle. Now go back in here and pick up a couple of stitches off the edge. Then go right across to where that neck is. Pick up a couple of stitches over there. Alright, now with the needle, I'm going to pull, and I'm pulling this edge. Let's see, can I get this sweater up here? Wait, so you can see it laid out flat. Okay, so when I pull, I'm actually pulling this into a really great right angle. See, I pulled it in. When I picked up a couple of stitches on this side, I reached across and picked up a couple of stitches right there at the neck. Now I pull. Now watch. Now I'm going to tack, just like a person sewing garment, I'm going to tack, go back up here on this side, get me a good place. Now I'm going to go across and tack and pull that join tight. Just push in anything, make sure you got, I don't know, oh, that might have been a little tail popped out. I'll grab that on this side. Just check and see how it looks on this side. Make sure it's nice and smooth. You know, that you didn't pull too tight. Sometimes you can pull too tight. And I may have pulled it a little too tight, so I'll poke that back through. And then I'll just come down here and start weaving this in as I'm going back and forth across, just to connect, to make sure that I have this neck. And like I said, if you do it neater, and I'm trying to get this done, I'm on camera here, and then you can, let me weave it one more time, because I don't want my neck go back up. Now you may not can see it that great on this dark, but you get the drift. You get the idea. Then you can just take your scissors and snip off. And then just kind of pull it. Now you have a, look at that right angle there. You can stretch it open. It's not popping out. It doesn't look loose like some. And then, let me turn it over on this side, just so you can see it from the front, from the right side. Now you have this nice, strong angle that you really can't see. And if you do a good job, not fast one like I just did, but if you do a good job, it's just going to be a beautiful right angle. I do that on every one. I didn't get it on the first video, but it's on this one. So now, look at the difference. Here's the one I haven't done yet. And if I open it out, it just kind of, I don't think I did this one. I may have done this one. I may have went ahead and did this one. But you see how smooth it is? The transition is nice and smooth. Now I think I need to do, no, I didn't do this one. See? There's a loose. See how that's loose right there? See how you can see through that? Okay, so what I would do is take the needle and thread again. Thread up my needle, go start up here somewhere. Take 2 stitches here from here and 2 stitches from this side. Pull them in slowly, maybe not too tight. Then go back through, pull them again. Then go on the back and weave that in. So here's the loose one that will probably always give me problems if I don't take care of it. But here's the one I just finished that's always going to be nice and clean and neat. And I will get lots of wear out of my sweater. My Faux Swag Sweater. Now, me and this camera. I'm telling you. Okay. It's horrible to have to work against time. My son's going to pick this up and I'm trying to get it all in one video so you don't have to have a part 2 and a part 3 and all that. Because I got stuff to do. Okay, so now there's that. Let me think of something else I was going to tell you. Right off the bat. Well, Jay, the fun part, okay? Here's this. So once I finish this Faux Swag Sweater, and I changed that color, I don't know what I was thinking. I just thought, oh, it would be pretty to change and have a pumpkin-like color. Okay, well, this looked so bland. See, it was just like 2 colors come together, and so what? That's what I said to myself. Okay, Jay, so what? That looks just empty or sad. So then I got some buttons out. I thought, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll use some of my buttons. I hadn't done anything with my buttons in a long time. Got lots of buttons. Well, the buttons, most of them were just too heavy, and I just didn't care for them. I laid them out in some type of little simple pattern. No, I laid them out. No. So then I started thinking again, what else can I do? And all of a sudden, I said to myself, what if I put some kind of little some kind of little design? Well, I don't know about you, but you know, I'm born and raised right here in the South in Georgia. And one thing you can be sure of, if you were born or raised here in Georgia or anywhere, usually in the South, and being a child of color, in the summertime, no matter what, you always went to VBS, Vacation Bible School. It was just something you look forward to going. And and one of the first things they teach, especially the girls, was how to embroider. How to do simple embroidery. A few little loopy flowers like this and some cute little satin stitch leaves. That's just one, it was just automatic. And of course, later on that, we had home economics back then. Remember back in the 60s and 70s or whatever, we had the home economics that you were in school. So then after this, they teach you more and how to embroider more and more difficult things, and then plus how to sew. But these flowers, you can never forget them because it's the first thing I ever learned in Vacation Bible School, and then later on in the Girl Scouts. Yeah, Jay was a Girl Scout. On my honor. I was a Girl Scout. So I thought, why don't I do that? So now, of course, I had to get back in the throw of things. I'm 70-some years old, and I thought, okay, let me see. But it came right back to me. It's not as even and not perfect, but I don't care. I just wanted something to add so that when I change colors here, if this doesn't work out or doesn't have a little oomph to it, we can add some pretty embroidery detail. And now, 2024, I mean, you can just go on YouTube and just sit and watch other people and, get some tips and learn different stitches, So next time we can add on something, and I'll be sure to link their videos if I use something off someone else's video. But this is just thanks to VBS, Vacation Bible School, in the 60s. And I still remember at 77 years old. I can still remember and do it. Maybe not as nice, but I'll get better. And then I sewed in some beads just to make that kind of pop. I don't know can you see the beads? Because I have a lot of beads. So that's just something. Now, I'm going to do this part in a little separate video called Jay's Accent. I'll put it on a video separate from this right after, just so that I will have it. And as we learn different stitches on down the road, and if we need them, I'll already have it on a little video. It'll be one that I can just pull out the same piece of fabric that I did the sample on, the chart. I just knitted a bigger piece, and then I can just add stitches as I learn stitches. And then we can always decorate. So what do you think of that? Okay, I think that is it. You've seen the pictures. I hope you are on board with Jay's Faux Swag Sweater. Saving you lots of time, lots of money. You don't have to worry so much about the size anymore, or about, Jay, I start out and, man, it takes so long to knit a sweater. Well, these are faux, these are half the sweater. All right, now when you steam, I shared with you how to steam, but I found when I started steaming again on this one, if you would just take it to your ironing board on the wrong side like this, the sleeves go up, start here steaming on the bottom, either with a pillowcase or without, but never touch the fabric. You just steam above with an iron or a steamer. Press open the lace going in this direction, the back, the whole back. Steam, press open in this direction, going across. Then as you pull it down, steam a little bit, but try not to steam too much here on your ribbing. And of course you're going to tack both necks down before you do all of this. Steam, and then you can take one sleeve at a time. Bert got so tired he fell over. And then you just steam down. Steam it out. Lay a pillowcase if you have to, but don't steam the cuffs. Just let them roll. They will roll in, which is fine. That's what it represents. A faux sleeve. Wow, did I make it? Without making the video too long? I hope so. Here is one side of the finish. You have pretty pictures. Tell me what you think. You gotta send me some pictures. Whatever changes or numbers, whatever change, make a note of your numbers, because mine will stay the same until I actually change this design, in which I will, change a few things as we go. But if you change any numbers so that you won't forget. That's the whole point, to do the same steps over and over, and then we can pay more attention to the chart, finding a chart, stitches, using our stash. That's the whole point of this, to use up stash. Now look, I've moved this color I've finished with. I have just a little bit of this left. Whew, win-win. Well, my friends, this is the second, with more to come. Here's Bird. Thank you, Bird, for staying with me. Let's thank our friends. And now there's nothing to do but I'll get the accent little video up, get it done, and then I will stop and say thank you for watching. Thank you for watching this video and working with me. Please send me pictures so I can load them up and share them with all our YouTube friends. So to all my friends, everyone, everywhere, every size, happy knitting, and bye-bye from me and Bird. Bye-bye.